Good afternoon. Good afternoon. May I have, good afternoon. I would like to call the Board of Trustees special meeting to order on July 21st, 2026. Secretary, may we have the roll call, please?
Trustee Ash.
Here.
Trustee Cahar.
Here.
Chair Hoskinson.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
Here.
Vice Chair Kump.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Scruggs Andrieu.
Here.
All right. Thank you. We have two executive sessions this afternoon, this evening. May I have a motion to enter into the first executive session? This executive session is to discuss personnel matters of non-elected personnel with possible action to follow in open session. It's for 20 minutes. The people joining us for this executive session includes our attorney, and it's Attorney Dink.
Yeah, I'm going to be in there, but Mr. Goheen may also be joining.
All right. So, okay. Dr. Vietti, our incoming interim president. Dr. Patrick Schulte, our acting president. Ms. Lorraine Mixon-Page, our chief human resource officer. And Cheryl Brunell, Ms. Brunell, our board secretary. May I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Now the board members will have, be allowed time to travel to the executive session.
And my wife had killed.
That wasn't the-
shooting with BB gun.
We have returned, we've returned to open session, and may I have a motion to return to open session?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second to return to open session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We have a second executive session. And in the second executive session, it will be to discuss personnel matters of non-elected with possible action to follow an open session. It's 30 minutes. It will take place in the upper jewel in the virtual meeting room. The people joining the Board of Trustees is Attorney Goheen, Attorney Dean, Dr. Jackie Vietti, interim president, incoming interim president, Dr. Patrick Schulte, acting president, Jerry Pope, vice president of academic affairs, Dr. Devin Strong, vice president of enrollment management and student services, and Ms. Lorraine Nixon Page, chief human resource officer. May I have a motion to enter into the second executive session? So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to enter into the second executive session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We will give the other participants, it's for 30 minutes. We will give the other participants time to arrive in the room before we started. Come on, Mr. Pope. Dr. Stroman.
Roman's around, I think he might have stepped out. Yeah.
May I have a motion to return the meeting to open session?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second to return to open session. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. For the first executive session, a decision or vote will be taken under new business. For our second executive session, there is no action at this time. May I have a motion to close the special meeting?
So moved.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
And before I call for the motion, on the vote for it on it, we are going to be just a few minutes late starting our regular 5 o'clock meeting. We're going to take a 5-minute break after this meeting is adjourned, and then we will come back and start our regular Board of Trustees business meeting. I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. This special meeting is adjourned. Good afternoon. I want to call our board meeting to order. We have, I've called the Board of Trustees meeting to order on Tuesday, July 21st, 5:11 p.m. And we will have the Pledge of Allegiance by Trustee Ash.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And before we have our roll call, I do want to do a moment of silence for Dr. Patricia Carruthers. She retired from the community college in 1994 as the Vice President of Instructional and Student Services, but I do want to read a little bit about her first. Patricia Carruthers graduated from Sumner High School in 1957. She was notably one of 2 top winners of the Kansas City Science Fair in 1957, and then received a 4th place award in the National Science Fair in Los Angeles, where her exhibit was chosen as one of 12 exhibitors to be sent to Japan for viewing by science students. After high school, she went on to attend Emporia State University. She received a Bachelor of Science in Education, majoring in English and Biology in 1962. Afterwards, she attended the University of Missouri, UMKC, where she earned a Master's of Art degree in Higher Education and Administration and English in 1965. She was widely celebrated as the first Black student to earn a doctorate degree from UMKC in 1975. Dr. Carruthers had a passion for education throughout her career. She taught English at Northeast High School here in KCK. She taught African American literature at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and for the better part of her career remained at Kansas City, Kansas Community College, serving as assistant to the president and retiring as vice president for instructional and student services in 1994. In 2005, she was formally inducted alongside her father into the KCKCC Endowment Association of Mid-America Educational Hall of Fame. May we please take a moment of silence. She has given so much to this college. Thank you for that moment of silence. And if you could just bring this in a little bit so everybody could just kind of see this picture of her. Many will remember her. Can you see it? Yeah, okay, all right. Thank you.
I personally do remember her, as she was my classmate at Sumner High School for all 4 years, and we graduated together.
Thank you for sharing that. Thank you. At this time, may we have the roll call, please?
The mission statement.
Oh, okay, I skipped down. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Our mission statement is to inspire individuals and enrich our community one student at a time. Thank you, Secretary. Now we have a roll call.
Trustee Ash.
Here.
Trustee Cahar.
Here.
Chair Hoskin-Sutton.
Here.
Trustee Johnson.
Here.
Vice Chair Kump.
Here.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Scruggs-Andrieu.
Here.
You have the agenda there in front of you. May I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. We do not have a student alumni success story this evening. Next on the agenda is audience to patrons and petitioners. Do we have anyone in the audience who wants to address the board? Please come forward to address the board. And also, is there anyone in the chat? then you have 3 minutes, and you can give us your name and address for the recording.
Good evening. I am Dr. Sean Derritt, the Dean of Student Services here at Kansas City, Kansas Community College. I just wanted to come before you and say thank you, but just to give a little history about who I am and my connection to the college over the years. In 1991, I graduated from Kansas City, Kansas Community College with an associate in art and psychology. Fast forward to 2002, I was blessed with the great honor and privilege to return to Kansas City, Kansas Community College to work as a counselor, now considered advisors. This October will mark 24 years that I have been a part of this community in various roles. As many of you know, my wife, who was also a student here during our marriage, passed away on July 6th. She attended many events here and served as a guest speaker for FBOE as a licensed professional counselor. At her celebration of life on July 15th, I was reminded of why I fell in love with this campus and why I had stayed here for so many years. As I greeted many faculty and staff and administrator and board members who came to honor my wife that morning, I was deeply moved. I was reminded of my early years working here and how we were a community that were not only for students, but also for our faculty and staff. Over the years, there have been times where we as a campus have strayed from this, but last week, I regained hope that we can return to a sense of community that defines a community college. On behalf of my family, thank you to the board, Dr. Schulte, the President's Cabinet, the Dean's Council, faculty, the staff, and students for the beautiful flowers, cards, calls, texts, and hugs I received during this time. I believe the display of love and support last week shows that we as a college are once again headed in the right direction. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Derritt, and we still extend our sympathy and condolences to you. So thank you for sharing that. Any other comments? Right. Is there anyone else that wants to address the board? Is there anyone online that wants to address the board?
There's no one.
Okay. All right, thank you. Our next item on the agenda is a presentation from Mr. Michael Crouch, and he will be introduced by Dr. Patrick Schulte, our acting president and vice president of finance and operations. Dr. Schulte.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Mike, if you want to make your way up to the podium. I can give a little context around Michael. Michael Crouch is the executive director of the foundation here at KCKCC and is a strategic relationship-oriented nonprofit executive and advancement leader with close to 20 years of experience spearheading stewardship to secure philanthropic support for academic institutions while elevating their reputations. Known for building sustained donor partnerships and aligning organizational initiatives with the mission-driven outcomes, he approaches fundraising, community engagement, and donor relations with creativity and purpose. Mike comes to us previously as the Vice President of Advancement for Flint Hills Technical College Foundation, where he increased the endowment from $600,000 to more than $5 million and secured more than $7 million in capital campaign support. He collaborated across teams to increase student body expansion from 500 to 1,800 by growing scholarship dollars over 200%. After launching a major gift program, he delivered the college's first 2 7-figure gifts. So again, giving a little context and background, I don't want to steal all his thunder, but welcome to the podium, Mike. Tell us a little bit more about you.
Well, thank you for that kind introduction, Dr. Schulte, and thank you, Board of Trustees, for allowing me to be here for a few minutes. And I think on my first day, I was here for a board meeting, and so it's nice to be back now after a month. I'm excited to be here, excited to be part of the Kansas City, Kansas Community College family. Everybody has been extremely welcoming and very kind, and I'm excited to be a part of this process. As Dr. Schulte mentioned, I've been in higher education for about 20 years, 17 years of that at the 2-year college level, and I truly have a passion for community college education
and what it means to students and families. And I truly believe in my heart that community colleges change lives, and they change families' lives and directions. And so I'm excited to be a part of this. I'm excited to be a part of this team and this family, and I think we have great things ahead of us and excited to see where we go.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions for Mr. Crouch? Welcome again.
Thank you.
I just want to quickly say that thank you for coming again, and I know that in the conversation I've had with you, I'm really excited to see where you're going, and it's good to know also that you are also inspired by Mrs. Spangler, who helped build this up. So it's exciting to hear that next step. So
Yeah, Mary is a wonderful woman, and I've actually over the last week and a half, 2 weeks, started to have a lot of meetings with a lot of our constituents, and I will tell you there's one common theme that's come out of every single meeting, and that's that every single one of them love Mary.
Yes.
So that's a wonderful thing.
Okay.
So thank you very much
you.
for allowing me to be here.
Any,
I was just going to say welcome, and I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. I'm looking forward to working with each and every one of you as well.
thank you. Our next item on the agenda is a presentation of the Higher Learning Commission HLC update presented by Mr. Jerry Pope, Vice President of Academic Affairs, and Dr. Tiffany Bohm, Dean of Health Professions and Public Safety.
Good evening, Chair and members of the board. This evening, I'd like to provide an update on another important component of our preparation for the Higher Learning Commission's comprehensive site visit, which is scheduled for February of 2027. Over the past several months, you've heard updates regarding our assurance argument, and you'll continue to hear those through our February board meeting as we prepare for that visit. I'd like to briefly discuss two additional components of the accreditation process: the assumed practices review and the federal compliance review, as well as the organizational structure we've established to support this work. These three components, the assurance argument, the assumed practices, and federal compliance, collectively tell the story of our institution. Together, they demonstrate not only that we meet HLC's accreditation criteria, but that we operate with integrity, comply with federal regulations, and have the policies, practices, and evidence expected of an accredited institution. One of our priorities this summer has been creating an organized, collaborative process for completing this work. As the institution's accreditation liaison officer, I continue to have overall responsibility for coordinating the accreditation process. To strengthen our capacity, I have asked Dr. Tiffany Bohm to serve as my partner in leading the institutional evidence collection and development of the assurance argument. Tiffany, of course, is the Director of Health Professions and Public Safety. Together, we have established an HLC evidence committee composed of representatives from across the college. Rather than asking a few individuals to gather documentation at the last minute, the committee is coordinating evidence collection across every major operational area of the institution. We've created a centralized Microsoft Teams repository where evidence is being organized, cataloged, and linked directly to the appropriate accreditation criteria. This creates a single institutional record that will serve both the upcoming visit and future accreditation activities. And I may add, we did that at our last visit, and so we're just kind of continuing that. And we will use a lot of those artifacts for this upcoming assurance argument as well. This structure allows the work to be collaborative, transparent, and organized while ensuring consistency in how our evidence is collected and presented. So now I'd like to ask Dr. Bohm to come give a brief overview of assumed practices, what those are and what we've been doing so far, and also what the federal compliance review is.
Thank you, Jerry. The assumed practices are basically a foundational expectation in higher education. And it doesn't matter what our unique mission is. We will talk about that throughout our assurance argument. But the assumed practices are there assuming that every higher education institution is doing these things. And again, it doesn't matter if our mission is different than the next college, they are expected to be there. It focuses heavily on continuous improvement in assurance arguments, but assumed practices are intended to demonstrate that the college is consistently operating in accordance with those basic expectations. So what are some of those? ethical and responsible conduct, board governance and conflict of interest, qualified faculty and staff, student support services, and financial stewardship and institutional sustainability. As the board, you play a critical role in our assumed practices in demonstrating independent oversight, fiduciary responsibility, policy compliance, and institutional integrity. As part of this review, we are examining policies, procedures, committee structures, faculty credential documentation, assessment processes, and governance practices to ensure that our operations and documentation accurately reflect the work that is being done. Federal compliance is a review that is separate as well. On behalf of the U.S. Department of Education, HLC verifies with every institution that we are complying with numerous, we'll say that again, numerous federal requirements related to students and financial aid. Some of those examples include assignment and documentation of credit hours, student complaint procedures, transfer policies, publication of consumer information and public disclosures, financial aid processes, institutional calendars, and the numerous other things that they ask us for. Much of this is documentation-based rather than narrative, so our responsibility is to demonstrate that we have policies in place, that we are consistently following those policies, and that that information is publicly available and accurately maintained. A strong compliance demonstrates accountability to our students, taxpayers, regulatory agencies, and the public. So that's the boring stuff. Let's talk about where we're at. You might wonder what we've been doing. So here are just a few of the things. Through the ongoing policy review process, several of the academic policies, which you all have seen, have been reviewed and are being updated. The Vice President of Academic Affairs and Deans have strengthened our documentation supporting faculty qualifications. The Office of Assessment has collaborated with our faculty and deans to continue improving assessment processes at the course, program, and institutional levels. And we have evaluated public disclosures and are working with our website team to post state-by-state licensure disclosures for more than 15 programs at the college. So what's next? A cross-functional task force has been created to work on addressing quality in online education and ensuring that we comply with the federal regulation of regular and substantive interaction. Our Academic Affairs Committee will be tasked with reviewing and updating their submission requirements to align with our new KBOR guidelines. And with our transition to Aleutian SAS, the super users are working to identify ways that we can implement and track many of these processes in the cloud. Perhaps most importantly, as Jerry indicated, we've shifted our focus from collecting documents individually to managing our evidence through a coordinated process. Beginning next month, a committee of 15 faculty, staff, and administrators will collaborate to collect what is likely to be more than 1,000 pieces of evidence, and will meet monthly to ensure we have everything covered to tell our story and demonstrate the amazing work that is being done across the institution. While the organizational work may not always be visible, please know it is essential to the successful comprehensive review.
Thank you. Between now and February, our focus will be on continuing evidence collection, completing the assurance argument and federal compliance document, identifying and addressing any remaining gaps, and ensuring that the documentation accurately reflects the excellent work that's taking place throughout the institution. I want to say, and I hope a lot of people hear me say this, accreditation is not an academic affairs initiative. It is truly an institutional responsibility that depends on collaboration across every division of the college. I appreciate the engagement that we are seeing from faculty, staff, and administrators as this work continues. And I will say that overall, I am encouraged by our progress. As you may or may not know, I was here when we were initially put on probation back in November of 2020. I was here when we were taken off probation 2 years later in November of 2022. Been here through our monitoring reports that we have, and now through this comprehensive site visit. So I'm encouraged, and that comes from my own experience at this institution. And it says, I want to say while there is considerable work ahead, I think we now have the leadership structure, we have the organizational framework, the collaborative processes necessary to position the college for a successful comprehensive evaluation visit. Our objective is not simply to prepare for an accreditation visit. It is to strengthen the systems, our documentation, and our practices that support continuous improvement and ultimately, and I don't ever want to forget this, better outcomes for our students. And so that's why we do this. Of course, yes, we have to do it in order to remain accredited, but essentially, really, ultimately, we do this to help better the outcomes for our students. And so thank you very much.
I think, just wait a minute, are there any questions? Thank you both for that report.
I have a comment. As you just articulated, it's been a 6-year plus process since 2020. But I think one of the things that has made it successful is the continuity of leadership provided by you two. I've been involved in a couple of accreditation processes, and it seemed like every time the people at the top changed, we didn't necessarily advance forward. We slipped back, and then we had to make up that ground again. And when you're already behind and you're clawing and scratching, to make that ground, you don't want to give any of it up. So I just want to say thank you to the two of you, because I believe we're probably in the shape that we're in, a good shape, because your leadership has been consistent and steady and ongoing. So thank you very much.
And I appreciate that, and I would be derelict if I didn't call out another person that's here, and that's Dr. Cecilia Brewer, because she was our inaugural Dean of Academic Support and Assessment, and that office was key. Her with Dr. Goodo, who has moved on to, I don't want to say better things, but she's moved on to other pastures, and I wish her well for that, for the work that office did in really working with our faculty and making sure that the next time HLC came, that the faculty didn't say, "What do you mean assessment?" So thank you for recognizing both me and Dr. Bohm, but certainly Dr. Brewer and many others. I mean, Dr. Kramer is here, who has been at this institution for a long time in an academic role. So we have some newer people that are here, but we're excited about the work that we're doing in academic affairs.
Yes, so I will acknowledge them as well. Thank you all very much.
Absolutely.
Ms. Brewer, Dr. Kramer, they've been here too through the whole thing. So
Absolutely.
that's what it takes.
And thank you, Trustee Ash. And to piggyback on that, as a former employee, I was here for a long time for many of the HLC, well, it used to be called North Central, and it changed to Higher Learning Commission. And so when I came on as a trustee in 2018, and then we were in the process of going on probation, that was quite a shock for me. So thank you to everyone who has made the difference, and also to the trustees. At that time, we were working on our goals, and I said, Higher Learning Commission has to be a part of our goals forever, because that's, without our accreditation, what are we going to do? And also that we get regular updates. So board, this is why we get new board members regular updates now, because we decided that as trustees, we really lead the institution. We're not in doing the day-to-day work, but we appreciate all that you do, all of you do, but that we need to keep it focused so that we can hold everyone accountable, including ourselves, because this is very important. So thank you, and thank you to everyone who's going to be involved in this process of making sure that we are approved when they come for a visit in February of 2027. Are there any other comments? If not, thank you.
Thank you.
And don't you go too far, Mr. Pope, because you're up again next to present to us the Academic Master Plan Annual Update. Mr. Pope.
Thank you very much. Make sure I have the right report here. Tonight, as you said, I'm providing an update on the Academic Master Plan. There was a one-page summary that was included in your board materials just to highlight our progress across 7 strategic themes which were established in the college's 2021 Academic Master Plan. Rather than walk through each initiative individually, I'd like to briefly reflect on where we are today, the progress we've made, and where I believe we're headed next. The Academic Master Plan was developed to provide long-term direction for academic affairs by focusing on 7 broad priorities centered on student success, instructional quality, workforce responsiveness, faculty development, learning environments, community partnerships, and continuous improvement. And I'll just reiterate, because 2021 was a while ago, this information was gleaned, I summarized it, but it was gleaned from input from faculty and academic deans. And so it really was what formed this academic master plan was a synthesis of those themes that came from kind of those ground roots from faculty and the academic deans. Since the Academic Master Plan was adopted in 2021, I've had the opportunity to provide the board with annual updates. Over time, these reports evolved to focus on significant initiatives within academic affairs, including the important work of our Academic Affairs Curriculum Committee and other emerging priorities. Tonight, I'd like to return to the broader framework of the Academic Master Plan itself and reflect on how these many initiatives collectively advance the long-term academic priorities established by the board. I'm pleased to report that the majority of the strategic priorities that we identified in the Academic Master Plan have been substantially advanced. When viewed together, those accomplishments tell the story of an institution that has continued moving forward in meaningful ways. The story begins with our students. We've expanded tutoring, we've expanded learning commons services, strengthened transfer pathways in our articulation agreements, increased our concurrent enrollment partnerships with our local high schools, expanded student support in both traditional and online environments, and continued developing flexible instructional options that better meet students where they are. Each of these efforts reflects our ongoing commitment to helping students succeed from enrollment through completion. The second part of the story is our commitment to academic quality. Assessment has evolved into much more systematic culture of continuous improvement. We've strengthened program review, continued refining student learning outcomes assessment, invested in faculty development, enhanced support for online teaching and learning, and positioned the college well as we prepare for our HLC comprehensive site visit. These efforts help ensure that quality remains at the center of everything we do. We've also continued investing in the environments where learning takes place. The college has modernized classrooms. All you have to do is walk down the hallway, and if you have a memory of what they look like, some of you don't, I know, but some of you do, what they looked like before phase 1 of our Learning Spaces Task Force, you will know what we've done in that regard, just in that one task force. We've expanded simulation capabilities in health professions, enhanced technical education laboratories, improved instructional technology, and continued to strengthen the learning commons as a central hub for student learning. These investments support both today's students and tomorrow's workforce. Another important chapter has been our responsiveness to the workforce and the communities we serve, and you'll see some of that in my own report for academic affairs. But during this period, we've developed new workforce-focused programs, strengthened advisory committees, expanded partnerships with business and industry, enhanced opportunities for concurrent enrollment, and continued to align curriculum with regional workforce needs. These partnerships help ensure that our programs remain relevant and responsive to both students and employers. Perhaps the greatest measure of success is that many of these accomplishments are no longer viewed as individual initiatives. They have become part of how Academic Affairs approaches its work every day. As we continue building on that progress, I believe the Academic Master Plan can serve as an even stronger framework for communicating our work and measuring our process as we move forward. The college's current strategic plan concludes next June, so June of 27, and our Higher Learning Commission comprehensive site visit is scheduled for February of 27. I'm going to say that enough so if I give a pop quiz, everybody will know. February of 27. Together, these milestones provide an excellent opportunity to begin shaping the next phase of academic planning. As we look toward the next Academic Master Plan, I don't envision starting over. Rather, I envision building on the strong foundation that already exists. And I'll say several priorities are already emerging. These include strengthening the quality of online education, continuing to align academic program with workforce and community needs, connecting the program review process more directly to institutional planning and resource allocation, and developing a more systematic approach to evaluating the long-term vitality and sustainability of our academic programs. Now, these are certainly not new initiatives. Rather, they represent the natural evolution of work already underway and will help ensure that academic affairs continues to support the college's mission while preparing for the needs of tomorrow's students and tomorrow's workforce. So I will say in many ways, I view the next academic master plan as we work on this as not as a new document, but as a next chapter in the college's ongoing commitment to academic excellence and continuous improvement. Thank you, and I'd be happy to try and answer any questions, but as always, if I don't have the answer off the top of my head, I will take a note and bring it back.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Are there any questions for Mr. Pope?
I do have one. With the timing of needing the academic master plan as well as HLC, is there any expectation from HLC to have at least the master plan substantially completed and for preparation, or is that just they just coexist independently?
So the academic master plan is not really time delimited, and so I think we're in really good shape. And one of the things I've been working on recently, unfortunately we didn't do that before now, is kind of a color-coded view of where we are on each of these. I think there are about 67 initiatives. So since it's not a time-delimited plan, as long as we recognize that it's there and that we can speak about it and we're actually trying to do it, I think that'll be good. And one of the things that we're doing is, and Christine White is really leading the charge on this, is to make sure all of our plans really roll up to, I guess is the right word, our strategic plan. And so one of the things that I'm looking to do, and I believe it does, we're just wanting to put it on paper, is connect this academic plan to the pillars of our strategic plan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I could add in there, Trustee Kump, that's one of the pieces that we changed in the last couple of months. Was we had a operations cabinet group. We moved that into being a strategic planning operations group, which is led by Chris White, Executive Director of Institutional Effectiveness. And again, just as Vice President Pope noted, bringing all those plans together, because we have a master, you're going to hear about a master technology plan next, we have a master academic plan, we have an enrollment plan, we have a facilities plan. All of those need to be talking to one another and informing our strategic plan in various ways. And as we look at the gap or the 2-year window as we end this strategic plan and as we prepare for the next president and writing the next strategic plan, we want to lay the foundation that those are all talking to each other instead of it being independently done.
Anyone else? If not, thank you, Mr. Pope, for that report.
Thank you.
Next on the agenda is another master plan update. This one is the Information Technology Master Plan Annual Update. It's presented by Mr. Peter Gabriel, Director of Information Technology, and he's given this report on behalf of Mr. Eche Okoye, Chief Information Officer. Mr. Gabriel.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I'd like to briefly highlight a few key accomplishments from our annual Information Technology Master Plan update that should be included in your board packet. First, we, and I say we as not just IT, but the college, completed migrating our Ellucian colleague system to a cloud-based SaaS environment. This migration modernizes the college's core systems while improving reliability, security, and disaster recovery. As part of this effort, we've also launched the new MyDot portal to enhance the digital experience for students and employees. We've also strengthened our cybersecurity by implementing Voyatech to combat financial aid fraud and partnering with Tandem Cyber for phishing simulations, penetration testing, and expanding multi-factor authentication to the students' accounts. We had multi-factor authentication for a number of years for employees, but now we've actually brought it out to the students, so everyone's now covered. We are also close to launching Team Dynamics, That's will be our new service management platform. And we're modernizing the campus communications through the transition to Microsoft Teams from our Avaya phone system. Finally, we continue investing in classroom technology, network upgrades, fiber replacement, disaster recovery improvements, and a future data center generator to ensure long-term resiliency. Together, these initiatives support a more secure, reliable, and modern technology environment for our students, faculty, and staff. I know that was a brief update, but I would be glad to take any questions if you have them.
Thank you, Mr. Gabriel. Any questions for Mr. Gabriel?
All right.
Thank you for the update.
Thank you.
Next on our agenda under communications, it's regarding our retreat coming up, and I can't say enough about Dr. Vietti for getting us ready for this. So all of the members already know that it's going to be Saturday, August 1st from 9 to 3. As part of it can be, if you can't be in person, you can certainly join us online. The agenda was in the meeting books, but I do want to call Dr. Vietti up because she has put this together for us. It's a cliche, but she truly has hit the ground running. So, Dr. Vietti.
Well, in the beginning, I thought a retreat in like 3 weeks, but the stars aligned perfectly, and I really think the timing could not be better to review best practices regarding board governance, and then to set some written guiding principles. I'm big on written guiding principles, so over lunch, we'll ask the board to begin to capture guiding principles for the way you want to operate as a collective. In the afternoon, we will hear from Heather Morgan. You will be briefed on what's happening within legislation, what's happening with your organization, KCKCC, and we'll wrap up the day, I hope, all being inspired regarding your dreams for the college and the presidential search. So, before I ask if you have questions, you have a homework assignment, and Cheryl is going to pass it out to you. It's an article from ACCT regarding best practices for board governance. So raise your right hands and promise you will read it before August 1.
Promise.
There won't be a test, but please do read it. So I would be happy to entertain any questions you have. All right, thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Dr. Vietti, and we look forward to that retreat on August 1st. Next is our board committee report. I would invite Trustee Ash, Chair of our Board Finance Committee, to give the report. Trustee
Okay,
Ash.
thank you. The Finance Committee met on Monday, last week, I guess it was. And so Trustee Cahar and I were present, and Trustee Sanchez was present, substituting for Trustee Kump, who had a schedule conflict. So we approved the minutes of the previous meeting, and we looked at items to be brought forward to the full board on the consent agenda items, and so we approved moving those forward to you. They're in your packet for this evening. And then, as we typically do, we reviewed all of the May. Now, remember, this is for the month of May because we've amended that schedule so that finance can give us more complete and accurate reports rather than giving us kind of a half-baked report, which wasn't their fault because sometimes not all the bills are in there, not all the numbers are available. So anyway, we reviewed the May financial summary and the financial board reports and voted to move them forward to you all tonight, so that's in your packet. And then another bit of business that we did, annually we have to designate our official depositories, so which financial institutions we keep our revenues parked or at, so we can do business from day to day, week to week, month to month. And so that again is in your packet for tonight. And then there was a recommendation, and we had some discussion at the previous meeting, and then again this meeting on establishing a line of credit and with Security Bank, just in the event of unforeseen circumstances or event that might require us to need to, lay our hands on a significant amount of cash pretty quickly or in a short period of time, which we would then, of course, pay off when we had the revenues. But the way we get our revenues from the county periodically, and if the wrong thing happens at the wrong time, we could be in one of those cycles where our on-hand cash is low because we're due maybe in the next 30 days or so to get another disbursement of tax dollars. So we are bringing that recommendation forward to you as well. We had a number of informational follow-up items. So the fiscal year 27 budget and mill levy update and the hearing timeline, which we're required to do by statute, and the KBOR certification regarding the 27 property tax levy document. There was a little bit of report on the Gallagher compensation study update. We talked about that earlier this evening. The upcoming audit schedule for our annual audit, bank account consolidation update, procurement card updates. They're looking at these various policies. For example, on the procurement cards, do we have too many? Do we not have enough? So what's the right number? What's the right amount? Who should have them? So on and so forth. So these procedures and policies are in process. And then the program location expense and revenue update. So example for the new downtown campus, Tech, Pioneer, wherever it is, whatever it is. And then our downtown location update, which I'm sure Dr. Schulte is going to talk about, a little bit more in depth. So we covered a lot of ground. And incidentally, we did it in, I think, record time. So I don't know if that's because Jeff wasn't at the meeting or what, but.
Catching strays,
Yeah. So anyway, just to let you know, okay. So anyway, it was a good meeting. The college remains in a solid position, financially, and we're on time and on schedule for, I think, the downtown campus. And Dr. Schulte, as I said, will talk a little bit more about that. So we have moved all of these items forward for you. One more thing that I will mention is that KCKCC has commissioned Lightcast to do an economic impact study. And so there was a Zoom meeting the other day, and Dr. Schulte attended it, and I was about 10 minutes late getting into it, but I was into it also. And really, the folks from Lightcast, one of the project managers, were just going over the information that they will need and require from the college. And And so representatives from all of the colleges were on the call, and I believe it was one of our colleagues from Johnson County Community College that says, you know, a lot of what you're wanting is a lot of this information that we're currently working on for KBOR. And their deadline is a little bit beyond what yours is, but we could have a higher degree of confidence and consistency in the data if you could wait until we all prepare this data for KBOR and then submit it to KBOR and submit it to you. So after a little bit of discussion there, they agreed, and they were thinking it was a really good suggestion because the more consistency we can get, the more confidence we can have. You know, good data in, good report out. Bad data in, bad report out. So, so anyway, that study is underway, getting underway, and we will have staff working on that. And also, as I said, the same data that KBOR, you know, requests of us or asks of us every year. So I think we will have, the way the Lightcast study was commissioned, each college will get an individual report, and then there will be a report collectively to say what the economic impact is for the community and technical college system for the entire state. But we will get one that is specific to Kansas City, Kansas Community College and our economic impact, you know, here, which is the one our taxpayers are really interested in. So that is ongoing, and you can expect to hear more about that as we continue to move forward. Dr. Schill, do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, the only piece I would, not on the economic study with Lightcast, Trustee Ash did a good job of covering that piece. I did want to just touch base. One piece we noted in the Finance Committee on the budget timeline, and I just want to bring it to the attention of this group again, because it's a little different this year. Last year, we decided to exceed revenue neutral when we went flat. This year, we did not choose to exceed revenue neutral. So that changes our timeline slightly. And actually, if we were exceeding revenue neutral, we'd have from August 20th through September 20th to hold our revenue neutral hearing. Because we did not exceed and we're not exceeding revenue neutral, we have to just do that by September 20th. So that whole budget hearing, we have a little bit of a window here where we're going to work on, put together those scenarios, talk about it next month at Finance, really route it through conversations here with Dr. Vietti as well, route it through Finance, bring that back in August for a more comprehensive conversation here with the trustees as a whole, and then also then roll that into September and make sure that we're meeting that timeline as well. So that's it for me.
Well, that's all I have. If you have questions, I'll attempt to answer them.
Thank you, Trustee Ash, for that report. Excellent report. Are there any questions for Trustee Ash, board chair for the Finance Committee? So, any questions? All right. Thank you all. You're doing amazing work in there. May I have a motion to accept the report from the Board Finance Committee?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The next board report, committee report on the agenda is the board policy. And just to remind everyone that we do not meet in the summertime because the senates are not here and the students are not here. College senate is what I really meant. So may I have unless there's a question, we will meet, our first meeting again in September. I know Ms. Mixon Page is already working on policies for us. That was another part of the Higher Learning Commission, is that we were not regularly updating our policies. So now we make a point to make sure that we are in the process of updating our policies. Are there any questions regarding that? If not, may I have a motion to accept the report from the Board Policy Committee?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. The next is the Community Engagement Committee, and that's Trustee Sanchez. I didn't know if you had something. I don't want to put you on the spot. If you don't have anything to say, that's perfectly okay, but I also don't want to not acknowledge if you do have something to say.
I do not have anything to add to that. Unfortunately, I was unable to attend that with my schedule.
Okay, and we're going to be adding our new trustee to that, so we'll talk about that a little later. I will say that I had a conversation with Trustee Sanchez, and this committee is one that just kind of keeps evolving and changing, so we're hoping that the board, the new committee, will be able to set some guidelines for what they want to do. May I have a motion to accept the board community engagement report?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we'll go back to Trustee Ash to give us an update on ACCT and KCKCC. He is our delegate. Trustee Ash.
Okay, thank you. So the next thing up on the KCKCC agenda is the quarterly meeting that will be taking place August 2nd and 3rd in Great Bend at Barton Community College. And Dr. Vietti and I are scheduled to attend, so we will be making our way down there on that Sunday afternoon. This is the last meeting under the Sunday-Monday format. So the meeting will start down there at 5 p.m. on Sunday, so she and I will be traveling down in the president's car on Sunday late morning and the afternoon. So there are a number of things scheduled for business there. We will have some presentations, I think, by a couple different vendors. We're going to have a legislative panel. So some state legislators have agreed to come and sit as sort of an expert panel, if you will, and then we will be able to ask them questions about what's going on at the state, upcoming, session, so on and so forth, what kind of business is being done over the summer and so on. So we're going to have a legislative panel there, and then we are also scheduled to hear from our U.S. Senator Roger Marshall. He will be present and will be giving us, I'm sure, a Washington, D.C. upstate and update and what he's working on regarding the state of Kansas that benefits certainly the state of Kansas and other things. And then we're just going to have some discussion. We'll get a bit of a brief report about KBOR is going to be having, or maybe they have already had, I'm not exactly sure, their annual retreat. And out of that retreat usually comes their plan, for the year. What are their goals and what are the things that they're looking for and seeking, so it gives us a little bit of a heads up about what we can expect them to be asking us for. And then we're scheduled to have a discussion on performance-based funding metrics. This seems to be one of the hot items this year, and so I'm anticipating a robust discussion around that. We have been provided some draft ideas, talking points, and so forth, and I think we'll probably work to sort of finalize those so that we can come up with what, the position of the association is regarding those things. And then there are a number of items, there's regular KCKCC business minutes, financial report, so on and so forth. We will review all of that, but in the area of unfinished business, when we were at Allen County at our last quarterly meeting, I believe I reported to you last month that a couple of the technical colleges had approached us and wanted to be a part of our association. Technical colleges are two-year colleges, and so we had quite a bit of discussion around that. The membership voted to accept a couple of the technical colleges and anticipating that probably at least one or more, may follow moving forward. So Manhattan Tech and Salina Tech were accepted into the association. And so that requires a bylaws update. So a bylaws update has been a work in progress. It's been sent out to everyone so that we can be prepared to approve or not those bylaws changes when we meet in Barton. Since then, Flint Hills Tech has approached us, wanting to be a part of the association as well. So, in terms of the dues structure and everything else, they've all been agreeable to the same dues structure that we have for the community colleges, and we talked through some things about, how you conduct yourself at the meetings. We're going to, adopt a code of conduct, kind of like we do for our own board here. Another thing that we will be doing is signing conflicts of interest statements, just like we do for our board here. The association is currently undergoing an audit. And in fact, I talked with one of the auditors today as the executive chair of KCKCC. They typically interview for the audit. So I had about a 15-minute conversation with the auditor. We should have a draft of that audit available sometime in August. It won't be ready before we meet in Barton, but sometime in August we'll receive that audit, and then we'll, we as an association review it and take whatever action is appropriate. But obviously that may require, with Flint Hills coming on, it may require a little bit more work to the bylaws. So, but we're going to be prepared to adopt the bylaws that are currently proposed, and then we may open up for additional revision of the bylaws. It depends on what the body wants to do when we're down at Barton. So we have a lot of business that we're going to need to take care of at Barton. It's going to be a busy and an aggressive agenda down there. And those of you that know Heather Morgan, it'll be a bunch of information coming at you like drinking water from a fire hose. And so, but she's done a good job sending a lot of it out in advance, so we'll have the opportunity to review. And then next month when we meet, I can report to you how that went and where we're moving forward. The next meeting then, following the August meeting, will not be until the first Thursday, Friday in December. And that will be the final one for the calendar year. And so as we work to develop a legislative agenda between August and December, we'll have a legislative agenda to look at and approve, tweak, or whatever, and possible other bylaws adjustments. There will be, by then, the Lightcast Economic Impact Study will be completed and will have been delivered to us probably sometime in October. We'll have that information from the Economic Impact Study. And as I said, we will have one that is specific to our college, so certainly we'll all get a copy of that, be able to look at it, and get a copy of the big report as well on the economic impact for the system on the state of Kansas. So there's a lot going on there. And I'm going to hold any comment about ACCT in the annual Congress maybe till next month. But that'll be coming up in October in Chicago. And so we have so much to talk about at the state level. I'm going to wait till we get closer to October to say very much more about the annual Congress, other than if Cheryl sends you some communication, I know she would appreciate a prompt reply with your intentions of attendance or whatever the case may be. So that's all I have at this point.
Okay.
It's more than enough.
Thank you for that report, Trustee Ash. I will add as a follow-up, I will make this comment about ACCT because if you recall, a few months ago I mentioned that I had, they were looking for volunteers to be a part of a cohort group for certificate program that they were offering for trustees. It's ACCT Excel Trustee Leadership Program, and I was accepted as part of the cohort, and we had to have it finished by July, and I finished, and I haven't gotten my certificate. But I'm mentioning it because I would encourage, as they pilot this, well, I was in the pilot group, they'll be offering this regularly, but it was so rewarding to take this. I had to take Governance 101, Parliamentary Procedures, which I had taken on my own before, attend a leadership congress, take the course on Advocacy 101, and be a current board member. And so it will be open to everyone, but I would encourage you to take a part in this. There was just so much information that I learned, even after being a trustee for a few years, to actually take a course, just kind of cemented it in my head. So I'm pleased that I completed that. And I want to thank Trustee Ash and Dr. Vietti for our retreat is that Saturday, August 1st, and then that Sunday, on the 2nd, you're going to make that drive to Barton County. It's not as far as Colby, but it's still a pretty good drive. So thank you all. It's always very informative, and I would also encourage our other trustees that when you can, if you can at least go to one KCKCC conference a year, or a meeting a year, you meet other trustees in Kansas, and it's information about what's going on in the state of Kansas. Are there any questions or comments for Trustee Ash? If not, may I have a motion to accept his report?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next on our agenda is the consent agenda, and the consent agenda consists of item A, item A1, item A2, item B, item C, and item D. Are there any questions or comments? If not, I will call for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
Move to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. In the summertime, next on our agenda, and we leave it on here even though we don't have a report from our Student Senate in the summertime because they are away, but we still leave it on here just so that that space is kept. Next is our President's report, and it's from Dr. Patrick Schulte, our Acting President, Vice President of Finance and Operations. Dr. Schulte.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Board of Trustees, as my acting president report, I just want to note that throughout the reporting period, executive leadership remained focused on ensuring organizational stability during the presidential transition while advancing strategic institutional priorities. Weekly leadership meetings centered on continuity of operations, the presidential search planning, fiscal management, organizational leadership, employee performance, and operational oversight. As the college prepares for the transition from acting to interim president, considerable attention was devoted to board relations, executive leadership alignment, and the maintenance of institutional momentum. As noted previously, Dr. Vietti and I have already been meeting and having conversations as we look at that transition from acting president to interim president. Key discussions included planning and partnership on the presidential search RFP, which Dr. Vietti will note later on in the meeting agenda. Development and refinement of board committee structures, including trustee committee assignments and alternate committee members, which will be discussed later on by Trustee Ash in the meeting here. Ongoing discussions regarding the Vice President of Finance and Operations role in supporting the presidential search process and interim leadership transition. As the board considers leadership succession, significant planning was undertaken for the transition from acting to interim. As noted previously, Dr. Vietti and I have been meeting weekly for about 2 hours going through this, looking at the transition timeline and implementation in partnership with the President's office and looking at how do we set up systems to make sure that documentation is solidified for Dr. Vietti as she comes on board. While she has been here before, it's been a little while, so we want to make sure she has access to all the information needed, most relevant information as we continue to kind of move forward from 2026 into 2027. Identification of organizational responsibilities during the transition, executive reporting relationships, conversations we've had, and the evaluation of direct reports. For us, that includes, while it is we're doing a transition to an interim presidency, we also had an executive vice president. So we needed to make sure that we're looking at the responsibilities associated with that EVP role and make sure those are covered as well through the process of an interim president, but then also where do the direct reports go from that individual to others as we move forward. So Dr. Vietti and I continue to have conversations, and she'll bring forward recommendations as we move ahead. Budget and planning remained a major institutional priority throughout the period. The implementation and board-approved budget directives, as noted earlier with finance, we looked at the timeline, but also want to take into consideration what are the various scenarios that we're considering under a revenue-neutral model for budget development for the finance committee to look at next month, and then also recommendations to be brought forward to full board. Planning surrounded faculty negotiations, as noted, including Gallagher compensation recommendations were discussed at the Finance Committee, as well as taking into consideration salary increases to the faculty base based on their communications. The continued implementation of Gallagher compensation study was discussed at Finance Committee as well, and clarification of financing associated with the Downtown Community Education Health and Wellness Center building downtown. The association is a group of parties of 3, us, Community America Credit Union, and Swope Health. So we continue to have conversations around economy of scale and utilization of resources as we look at things like security, cleaning the downtown location, as well as partnership in the overall institution. Operational oversight also included monitoring several significant institutional initiatives. The Condominium Association, as we noted, security contract was reviewed and approved. Tech faculty updates, as well as the implementation regarding instructional materials and supplies. And also, as noted, I think to Chair Hoskins Sutton, and I want to make sure that the other trustees are aware as well, the transition of ownership and contract under review and amendment for Happy Hearts Learning Center and Little Leaders of KC. As we got information from the individuals that they were closing last Friday, we now have to begin the conversation around what the next steps look like. And happy to talk to any trustees specifically about some of that information offline as it involves them and their licensing and also the process with the unified government. Executive leadership continued to prioritize strengthen organizational effectiveness through coaching, communication, and employee development. Vice presidents come together in partnership and development, having conversations around supporting the interim president as she comes on board. The executive team expectations and accountabilities, what does that look like as we move on through that process of transition? The performance review and implementation. As noted previously in previous meetings, Human Resources moved from the previous performance review process to Perform, which is an online based performance review process. This time of year is the time of year where supervisors and others complete their performance review. That tool is up and running, and individuals are engaged in that process as we move forward. When we look through the process of full talent management and the suite associated with that, it's the right steps towards us being bringing forward complete talent management as we move ahead. Taking a look at leadership support during this period of institutional change. Again, while it is the implementation of an interim president who's been here before, we also want to make sure that we are supporting individuals as we've seen a lot of change over the last couple of months. What does that look like for us as we move forward? And how are we working on that and making sure we're communicating that as we move forward? Dr. Vighetti and I have had a lot of conversations around planning for employee convocation and organizational communications associated with some of those key pieces as we move ahead. As we welcome back students, faculty, staff into the fall term, we want to make sure that we're well prepared to talk about communications around those transitions, and also how are we putting in place support and opportunities for individuals to be able to share their thoughts as we move through this process of transition. As noted previously, completion and oversight of the annual performance evaluations is ongoing, and discussions regarding organization, the leadership, and review of personnel-related issues in HR and executive leadership as well. Strategic priorities moving forward, again, as noted, Dr. Vighetti, as interim president, will be leading and discussing later on the launching of the presidential search process, supporting the board committees and operations, continuing implementation of the Gallagher compensation, and finalizing the FY27 budget. As noted previously, we have HLC coming around the corner in February, a strategic plan that needs update, and we have a group pulled together working on those key pieces. And as we move forward, continuity of operations is a key focus for the leadership team as we make that transition. More than confident and excited about the opportunity to partner with Dr. Vighetti on that as well, as I know that she very much supports the continuity of operations and also the continued communication and engagement of the campus community. The month was, really characterized by executive planning and organizational transition, taking a look at how do we maintain a strong focus on preserving institutional continuity while simultaneously preparing the college for the college's next phase of leadership. That's even beyond the interim period. As we engage the campus community coming back in the fall, not only are we coming back to the fall to say, now's the time we have students here, we're going to teach, but we're engaging in the search process for an executive search firm to lay out the transition and the search for the next president of this institution. How are people preparing themselves for that? How are they engaging? What does a leadership look like as we move in that direction? So weekly executive discussions reflected balanced emphasis on strategic governance, financial stewardship, and employee leadership, and operational excellence as we moved forward. That is my report, Madam Chair. And if you are okay, and if there are questions on that, I can take them. Otherwise, I can move right into the finance area divisional report.
I want to say something about you as our acting president, so I want to take just a little pause. Are there any questions for our acting president? To the college community, to the community at large, I've met with Dr. Schulte as acting president and as board chair, weekly meetings since April? I believe it was April. I want you to know I'm very impressed. I can tell you he is the reason we have made it this far. His knowledge, and especially with downtown campus, he already knew the ins and outs of it. So thank you so much. I just cannot thank you enough for the leadership role you have provided and will continue to provide this board and this college. I don't know, forever grateful, eternally grateful, however you want to say it.
And thank you to all of you for your support through that process. As noted earlier, is wearing a lot of hats and trying to balance all of that could only happen through partnership with other vice presidents and other leaders in other areas. My executive assistant, Karen Callahan, as well as others, stepped up and really were the ones that made it possible for me to be able to balance all of that during that interim, that acting period. So again, while it is, thank you for the conversation and the accolades, it really was a team effort as a whole that came together to say, we have to continue to move forward. How do we do that together? So I appreciate that.
Yes.
Well, thank
and
you
it takes
for leading
leadership to bring that together. Yes. May I have a motion to accept this report as acting president?
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Now, your other hat, your main hat, the hat you actually truly, truly love, right, Vice President, Finance and Operations Report, Dr. Schulte.
Thank you, Madam Chair. So the Division of Finance and Operations Service Monthly, Operations Monthly Summary. During the reporting period, the Division of Finance made significant progress in advancing operational excellence and institutional infrastructure and supporting the college's strategic priorities. A major accomplishment was, as noted earlier, the successful transition of the Ellucian colleague system to a cloud-based software as a service environment completed on June 19th. The complex initiative required extensive collaboration across finance, payroll, HR, information technology, and other administrative departments to ensure business continuity, data integrity, and minimal disruption to the college operations. That, I don't know how to stress that enough, like beyond even those departments. This was a full campus community coming together, college community coming together to say, how do we make this transition to this software as a service and SaaS? The other side to that is the transition of that as well, going as seamless. And I know that there was so much work, and many people lost sleep over the fear of things not taking place. But the work that was done by so many individuals, the lift that came forward was the reason why it was as successful as it was. That's not always the case most places. And, for me, there was a little bit of fear in some of these big initiatives that we have going forward to say, what if? But it's truly, the way that I can sleep at night is leaning on strong leaders in all of these areas who are taking the initiative. And that is the way that I am able to kind of continue to move forward, is to go putting trust and faith, giving them the tools that they need, but clearing the path for them as I can in various ways to be able to say, what do you need to make this successful? That's key in the SaaS migration. That's key in the downtown project as well as we move forward. I'll note that as we move ahead. But there's so many of those key pieces where we're saying, what is it we need to do to make a difference as we move forward? Finance and accounting concentrated on fiscal year end close activities. And then that's another piece. We came to the end of our fiscal year. We're now closing and opening up a new budget in finance as well. That alone is a heavy lift in one area, not to mention all the other pieces that we have going on in various key areas. So again, kudos to Becky Barger, our controller, and her team for being able to continue to move that forward, continuity of operations, opening up budgets for departments so that on July 1, they don't have a situation where they're trying to process a requisition and they don't have any money in their budget. They can't actually put it forward. So the development for the upcoming fiscal year, a post-go live process optimization. The division established a new money market account to improve cash management, initiated enhanced financial analytics to better understand revenue and expense trends by student and campus, and continued compliance efforts through completion of the FY25 new market tax credits audits. Preparation also began a comprehensive Ellucian system review with Forelli consultants to improve long-term operational efficiency and reporting in our area of finance. Inside of human resources, they reached a significant milestone with the launch of the college's new performance management system, as previously noted, providing extensive training for employees and supervisors while preparing for the annual evaluation cycle. Planning also continued for implementation of the new learning management system, expanded employee development opportunities through GLOW workshops, recruitment for 76 open positions, employee recognition activities, and retirement planning resources. HR also communicated important legislative changes affecting employees' prescription benefits while continuing to strengthen talent development, employee relations, and organizational effectiveness. Inside of the area of IT, as noted earlier, successfully managed the college's largest technology initiative of the year by completing the SaaS migration while maintaining uninterrupted support for core institutional systems. The department also advanced implementation of Team Dynamics, which is a ticketing system on campus, and Time Clock Plus. Enhanced cybersecurity and classroom technology, expanded enterprise service management capabilities, and continued infrastructure improvements that support teaching, learning, and administrative operations. Business and auxiliary services focused on improving the student experience through planning for Blue Devil Cafe renovations, preparing bookstore operations for the fall semester, expanding wellness and fitness staffing, and supporting procurement initiatives, including major requests for proposals and the implementation of the college's new purchase card program. Inside the area, facility services continued to improve campus infrastructure through major maintenance and capital improvement projects, including classroom renovations, as noted by Vice President Pope, utility repairs, HVAC upgrades, safety inspections, and completion of key milestones for the KCKCC Community Education Health and Wellness Center downtown. Again, a situation where I can sleep at night knowing that this is being handled by the leadership on team speaks to the level of leadership that we have in these various departments on campus. I also want to note inside of facility service, while I say things like utilities repair, HVAC upgrades, and safety inspections, those oftentimes go unnoticed, right? Those are the kind of quiet heroes on campus that make sure that we all have heat, we have air conditioning, we have the things that we need on campus. It doesn't always get recognized because it's not always the biggest and brightest and shiniest new thing. It's simply the fact that we are able to be in the space and continue to move forward. College Police remained focused on community engagement, campus safety, and professional development through participation in community events such as the Law Enforcement Torch Run for Special Olympics, Kansas, and the Juneteenth celebrations, while officers completed required state training and advanced leadership development. Overall, the division demonstrated strong collaboration across departments while successfully navigating a significant enterprise technology implementation, advancing operational improvements, enhancing employee development, strengthening financial stewardship, and continuing investments in facilities, technology, and student services. The position of the college for continued success in the upcoming academic year. Once again, as noted, I give all this report and all this information really comes through the various leaders that we have here on campus. I'm only as strong as the individuals in those areas, and they are ones who make this area look as strong as it is based on the fact that they have a commitment to this place, they care about what's going on here, and they're willing and dedicated to take the time to do what they need on behalf of finance and operations. With that, Madam Chair, that is the end of my report, and I will take any questions if you have any.
All right. Thank you, Dr. Schulte. Are there any questions for Dr. Schulte on his report for finance and operations? Hearing none, may I have a motion to accept the report?
So move.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next on our agenda is our Vice President of Academic Affairs, Mr. Pope.
Thank you. Long time no see, right? As I've done over the past academic year, I'd like to organize my report around the 4 priorities of the strategic plan so the board can more easily see how the work of academic affairs advances our institutional priorities. Student success continues to be at the center of our work. Online education services continues to make excellent progress preparing the college for the upcoming federal accessibility requirements. Faculty and instructional designers are working collaboratively to improve the accessibility of Blackboard courses, creating a better learning experience for all students while ensuring compliance with future federal expectations. Faculty also continue making strong use of instructional technologies such as Zoom, Panopto, and Respondus Monitor to expand learning opportunities and support academic integrity. We're also seeing excellent student outcomes in career and technical education. Several graduates of our new high-voltage line technician program have already accepted positions with the Board of Public Utilities, while others continue through the Evergy hiring process. These employment outcomes demonstrate the value of providing students with high-quality programs that lead directly to meaningful careers. Adult and continuing education also celebrated several GED graduates through our partnership with the University of Kansas Health System, illustrating the life-changing impact of educational opportunity. We continue strengthening the quality and relevance of our academic programs. During the month, Academic Affairs successfully completed both the Kansas Board of Regents Institution Program Alignment Verification process and the annual performance report, ensuring continued compliance with statewide accountability expectations. Preparations also continue for opening our downtown instructional location this fall. Faculty and administrators have been actively preparing instructional spaces and academic programs to provide expanded educational opportunities for students and employers in downtown Kansas City, Kansas. Across multiple divisions, faculty have completed professional development, expanded clinical and internship partnerships, convened advisory committees, and strengthened relationships with business, industry, and university partners to ensure that our programs remain responsive to workforce needs. Our faculty and staff continue investing in professional growth while demonstrating exceptional commitment to the college. This month included professional certifications, leadership development, and recognition across multiple divisions. Faculty and staff continue participating in state and national leadership opportunities while bringing those experiences back to benefit our students. We also completed the search for the Dean of Arts, Humanities, and Social Sciences, an important step in strengthening leadership within academic affairs as we prepare for the upcoming academic year. Finally, academic affairs continues strengthening partnerships throughout our community. Workforce innovation continues expanding registered apprenticeship opportunities with regional employers while strengthening the nationally recognized FAME initiative. Discussions with organizations, including Stowers Institute, General Motors, and additional employer partners, continue to create new opportunities for students while supporting regional workforce development. The music department's jazz camp, the art gallery's community exhibitions and public art initiatives, and adult education's partnerships with employers all demonstrate that academic affairs extends well beyond the classroom. These initiatives strengthen KCKCC's visibility throughout the community while reinforcing our mission of serving Wyandotte County and the surrounding region. Overall, I think this month's report reflects continued progress across all the 4 strategic plan priorities. Whether we're improving student outcomes, enhancing academic quality, investing in our employees, or strengthening community partnerships, those of us throughout academic affairs remain focused on advancing the strategic direction established by the board. And with that, I'll take any questions that you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Pope. Are there any questions for Mr. Pope?
Do you know how many students went through that? They went to BPU or Evergy? Do you have a number?
I do not. I think it was maybe, well, no. I'm sorry. I will ask Mr. Manthe. Yes. I know it was, the full cohort was 12 students, and I think we had attrition of 1, so I think 11 graduated.
I was just curious on how many went
Sure.
to BPU or Evergy, so, okay. That's good.
Okay. Any other questions? Well, I have a comment because I'm always pleasantly surprised when I'm out and about and I go to something and we have a student listed. I went to the New Theater Restaurant last week to see Legally Blonde. And it was the musical, and it was not a huge cast, but a good-sized cast. So I'm looking through the program, and here's this Amari Lewis, and she lists her education, Associates of Art, Kansas City, Kansas Community College. That is just so heartwarming to go to anything like this because she did not have to list the college because she is a member of the Actors Equity Association.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, and it also says that she was in Porgy and Bess at the Lyric Opera, and I saw that earlier this year, so it may not have been listed, but I was just impressed that she listed Kansas City, Kansas Community College, and that is a huge audience. I'm going to share this with the foundation so that they'll know. But I just think it's just great. We have students, and this is for the community too. We have students doing so many great things that we don't even know about. So this college is a jewel in this community. So I just wanted to share that. I'm not sure, it doesn't say when she graduated, of course it wouldn't say that.
Right.
But just to know that we have a student who is performing on stage like that in big productions, and she listed her education from here.
I had the privilege or the pleasure of going to a show at the Folly Theater recently, and the pianist was one of our graduates, which was after my time of teaching, but it was really wonderful to see that
It's
student on the
heartwarming.
stage.
It is so heartwarming to
of the
see
Folly
that.
Theater.
Yes,
It is.
it is. So just wanted to announce that. Are there any other questions or comments for Mr. Pope? If not, may I thank you for that report. May I have a motion to accept his report, please?
So moved. Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Now we have our Vice President of Enrollment Management and Student Services, Dr. Devin Stroman. Dr. Stroman?
Hello. Good evening, Chair and members of the board. I'm pleased to provide an update and continued work of the Enrollment Management and Student Services Division. Fall 2026 enrollment remains a primary area of focus, with unduplicated headcount currently down 10.7%. On your sheet, it might say 13.6, but as of Monday, it was 10.7, and credit hours down 10.8% compared to fall 2025. And the division continues to implement targeted recruitment outreach and student success initiatives to strengthen the enrollment pipeline. And that big number in that gap of the enrollment is coming from dual credit. As I mentioned last month, we're working with Harmon, Turner, and Wyandotte. Just recently this week, actually yesterday, 2 of the 3 asked for an extension as they return from summer break. So we're working with them to get the numbers together. Admissions advanced enrollment efforts by conducting 18 campus tours and participating in 7 community recruitment events, while launching the Void Tech identity verification system to enhance fraud prevention and protect the integrity of the admissions process. And the new KCKCC online new student orientation has been completed and is scheduled for launch, providing an enhanced onboarding experience for incoming students. And our student success advisors also provided nearly 700 advising appointments during June through both in-person and virtual services. Student success and workforce development initiatives continue to expand through career services, coordination of the ProX High School Internship Program and Upper Bounds partnership with Burns and McDonnell, providing students with project-based learning experiences in energy, engineering, and workforce development. Upward Bound also introduced its inaugural junior program, assistant, and ambassador programs to strengthen student leadership and career readiness. KCKCC Athletics continued its tradition of excellence with student athletes earning a 3.25 cumulative GPA this academic year, 52 NJCAA All-Academic Honors, 61 All-KJCC Academic Team Selections, and 6 NJCAA Academic Team of the Year recognitions. The department also achieved winning seasons in 12 of the past 14 years, reflecting sustained success in both academics and competition. And lastly, international recruitment efforts continue to expand under the leadership of Dr. Candace Scott with strategic initiatives targeting Brazil, Mexico, and Vietnam. While new study abroad opportunities in Rome and Jamaica provide students with valuable global learning experiences and support the college international efforts. And with that, I stand for any questions.
Thank you, Dr. Stroman. Are there any questions or comments for Dr. Stroman?
I just do have one question unrelated to the report, but a request from some community members that reached out to me was just simply, I'd like to have a little bit more information on some of the Kansas Promise Act and kind of how we provide that in our school.
Yes, sir.
And I have a question. I had 3, but you addressed them in your presentation. Thank you. My question is, do we have numbers for enrollment for the downtown campus, Pioneer, and for this campus?
Yes, ma'am.
Did I miss it?
No, you didn't miss it. It's right in you should have this enrollment sheet. You see it?
Okay. Is this the one that's on page, well, hold on.
Should be on page.
Just someone tell me what page this is on. There's so much information in this report. But I didn't see it.
That's what I think. I believe
in the
it's 2 or
beginning?
3 on the enrollment, Vice President Enrollment Management Report.
Okay, I'll look for it. Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
I would note here too, don't mean to jump in, I don't have a question for Dr. Stroman, but I will note, and Madam Chair, you had asked some questions earlier about some key pieces of enrollment. We're really taking a deep dive in looking at how are we doing our reporting, what is the timing and structure of our reporting. Chris White, again, Executive Director of Institutional Effectiveness, and her team are stepping up and really taking a look at how are we managing that so that we're looking at data that is relevant, because part of it too is, as we noted previously, we look at this date and time a year ago, but if the numbers were being counted differently a date and time a year ago, it doesn't really matter, because what we should really be looking at, and Dr. Vietti and I had had about this, and she had done this at other institutions, was we should be looking at our census date, which is our end-all be-all 20th day, right? Students that are actually taking classes. and then trending towards what that number looks like. How close are we to our goal? What are the steps we're taking? What's been the history of between now and that date and time a year ago on advancing towards that goal? So a lot of restructuring in relation to what we're doing on reporting and data that we have to be able to give better, more informed reports as we move forward. Another piece that we're going to have to remain cognizant of, and it was on a phone call last Friday or Thursday with Heather Morgan, was Department of Homeland Security has implemented some initiatives in relation to international students for us as well. And so we're going to have to make sure we're communicating with our international students, because as students are coming on, they're looking at and saying, well, if they're here on a student visa, it can't be a forever visa. So we need to make sure that we're clarifying in relation to what is the program that they're studying, because if there's a lot of movement in relation to program of study that could be an issue and raise a red flag. So we want to make sure we're diving into that the documentation and legislation in ways to be able to say, what is it we need to do to be able to advise our students as they move forward? So more to come on that. It just came out. I'm trying to get the documentation through Heather Morgan as well, and being able to say, how do we advise those students? Because as we're attracting more and more international students to come to Kansas City, Kansas Community College, which is what we want to do, we want to make sure that we're giving them the tools and being the best partner possible to make sure they're successful in their time here as well. So,
Dr. Schultz?
Go ahead, sir.
You're probably going to answer on that. I just was curious what our percentage of student base was that was international students.
I don't know if off the top of my head. I'd have to pull a report for you and look, but I don't know off the top of my, but we can get you an answer, definitely.
I think we roughly have about 115. And Dr. Schulte is 100% correct. Today we had a meeting with all the surrounding community colleges and 4 years in Kansas City, trying to come up with a game plan of how we are going to help these students. The government really put a strain on the ability for our international students to come here, and they have a hard timeline of 4 years. And not only that, they can't switch programs anymore. So it's going to be extremely difficult on community colleges for that reason and transfer. But the good thing is, with that meeting today, it gave me a lot of hope that the community in Kansas City is working all together to come up with a game plan to help our students.
Thank you.
I found the document. Thank you. So I would assume with the downtown location, we will have those numbers at 20th day.
Everything will be, on the 20th day. We'll get you
Okay.
census numbers on all of them. Yep, absolutely.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Dr. Stroman? Not. Thank you, Dr. Stroman.
Thank
you. May I have a motion to accept his report, please?
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next, we have our Vice President of Marketing and Institutional Image Report. It's being presented to us by Mr. Randy Royer, Director of Media Services, on behalf of Ms. Chris Green.
Hello,
Mr.
good
Royer,
evening.
Hi.
The spring semester digital marketing engagement continued to exceed the 500% return of investment for the spring semester. Kansas City, Kansas Community College achieved a 1,870% return on investment from its digital advertising initiatives. This statistic, means that 1,149 students, of whom 261 came from external advertising searches, enrolled in the spring semester and clicked the ad to find out more. This equates to an estimated $958,900 in revenue for KCKCC, compared to the $48,000 investment in digital marketing. In July, the Marketing and Institutional Image Division created several pieces for clients, designed the KCKCC annual report, and developed a variety of promotional materials to support the new downtown center, the partnership with the Monarchs, and to encourage fall enrollment. The Marketing Division implemented an extensive brand awareness campaign to support the launch of the KCK Community Education, Health, and Wellness Center. A dedicated website supported the advertising campaign. The marketing division developed a $93,900 multimedia campaign to raise awareness of the site's fall opening and classes offered there. This advertising also increases awareness of KCKCC enrollment. The tactics used include bus wraps, digital advertising, billboards, radio spots on 103.3 and 93.3. Postcards were mailed to 23,000 residents near the downtown center. The KCKCC website has been live for about 10 months and continues to outperform the previous site. Total users have increased by 10% and new users have increased by 13%. Organic search from direct links, search engines, referrals from other websites, and digital advertisings are the top ways users find KCKCC's website. This growth exceeds industry's expectations as the redesign often requires re-indexing by search engines and AI systems, which lowers overall numbers. These numbers indicate a successful launch of the redesigned KCKCC website. And that's the report. I'll answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Mr. Royer. Are there any questions for him? You have a motion to approve the report.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to approve the report for the Vice President of Marketing and Institutional Research, Institutional Image, excuse me. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. This brings us to the unfinished business on our agenda. And with our new trustee, we are welcome to have her on. The Trustee Johnson has agreed, where she's interested and willing to serve on our Community Engagement Board and our Foundation Board. These are areas where we still had an opening because we did not have a full 7 trustees. So are there any questions or comments? If not, I would call for approval to add Trustee Johnson to the Community Engagement Committee and the KCKCC Foundation Board of Directors.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. And I will also note that Trustee Sanchez has agreed to be the chair of the Community Engagement Committee, and he is aware that you are joining, and he will reach out to you. The other member is Trustee Kahar.
Thank you. Look forward to serving.
All right, thank you. The next thing is a renaming of the Board Finance Committee. This is coming through the Finance Committee, and Trustee Ash, who is the chair of our Board Finance Committee, is going to present this to us, and then we will decide if we want to accept this change.
So we had some conversation at the last board meeting about a facilities committee. I had, just because I'm old and been around a long time, mentioned that we used to have a facilities committee back in the day. Mr. Clyde Townsend and I were the members of it. And it actually was kind of sort of part of the finance before we had finance and operations. So it was suggested that maybe we reconstitute that or reinstitute that. So at the chair's request, I confirmed with Trustee Kahar and Trustee Kump, who are members of the Finance and Operations Committee, would be all right with them if we dedicated a portion of that monthly meeting to looking at issues germane to facilities. And so it makes sense because anything that we end up doing, usually requires board approval through finance to pay for whatever we're going to do about facilities or with facilities. So we just want to bring it to the full board and see if, you're amenable to that. And if so, We will start reporting as board finance and operations to include facilities items that we would report on at the monthly meetings. So that said, if you're agreeable to that, Madam Chair, do you want a motion?
I just want to make a comment about it. It was, Dr. Schulte was receptive to your comments last month regarding wanting or talking about the operation. So it was his suggestion that this is for full disclosure to the board, it was his suggestion that, or maybe a thought that we combine it and have it finance and operations committee. So I reached out to the chair, Trustee Ash. He reached out to the committee. They were agreeable. So now we are bringing it back to the full board. Are there any questions or comments regarding this change? And it was also with the understanding that the main goal is still the finances. But, you know, so if 1 week it takes more time, 1 month takes more time for finances, they would devote that time to finance and then bring this other on as needed. I mean, not as needed, because they're going to discuss both each month, but we just don't want you to think they're going to lose track of the finances. Is that?
That's more than fair. And just a couple examples from the flooding. You know, we had to do a lot of stuff. I mean, we had to do a lot of renovation. We had to do a lot of repair. And in the process, we did some upgrading of those classrooms and those spaces. We're scheduled for upgrading anyway, so it just kind of forced our hand. But we also did the flood mitigation work on the grounds, you know, for example. So it would be items like that as trustees, we would have the opportunity to get a little more in-depth information and monitoring of it. There's some work going on now on the north side of the field house there that I was going to ask about and neglected to ask about. But, you know, just things like that we will be able to have in our fiduciary responsibility as trustees a little more information and be able to provide better oversight.
All right, thank you. Are there any other questions or comments regarding this?
So I'll make a motion that we do that we change the committee from board finance to board finance and operations committee.
Second.
I have a motion and a second to change the name of the board finance committee to board finance and operation committees. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Next on our agenda is some new business, and we've already talked about it earlier, and Dr. Vietti has gotten us information about it. Wait just a second, I'm getting ahead of myself. we need to do her approval first. We talked about this in our executive session, Dr. Vietti's contract, and so now it is before the board to approve the contract as discussed, to have Dr. Vietti come in as our interim president starting August 1st. Is there any discussion? We've had some discussion, but still proper protocol to allow additional discussion if it is needed.
If none, Madam Chair, I'd like to make a motion. Then I motion to approve the interim contract for Dr. Vietti as discussed and as written.
All right. Second?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion and a second, and now our Cheryl will give us a roll call on this.
Trustee Ash.
Yes.
Trustee Cahar.
Yes.
Chair Hoskin Sutton.
Yes.
Trustee Johnson.
Yes.
Vice Chair Kump.
Yes.
Trustee Sanchez. Trustee Scruggs on through.
Right. The roll call vote carries. Thank you. Next, we're to this point on our agenda where we will discuss, review the potential for approval of a search firm or to start the request for proposal process as presented or amended by Dr. Vietti, our incoming interim president. Dr. Vietti?
Well, first of all, thank you for approving my contract. It truly is a privilege to be able to come home again to KCKCC.
Thank you.
Next, regarding this agenda item, it is always best to begin with the end in mind. And the end as it relates to this is your approval of the request for proposals to identify a search consulting firm for your new president. So we seek your approval as this document is presented or amended by you, but I will quickly highlight the elements within it, but not without first thanking Lorraine Mixon-Page and Dr. Schulte with weighing in from our chair to get us to this point, this draft document. So there are 8 elements: project overview and objective, institutional background, and I want to back up. So the ultimate objective is to find just the right search firm who will build the best diverse pool of candidates so you can select the ideal president to take KCK to its next level. So beyond the project overview and objectives, you have the institutional background, you have the scope of work. Within the scope of work, I think it's crucial to point out that would include stakeholder engagement. So there will be a series of facilitated listening sessions in order for the search consultant to understand what every stakeholder's desires are in terms of the characteristics and traits of the next president. From that the search firm will build a presidential profile that will be distributed. Additionally, and sometimes there are questions about this, but the selected search firm will be required to manage its own database of applicants. So those will not be managed in-house, and that the people on the search committee are the only individuals who will have access to the applications as they come in. The search firm also would screen the applicants, and it's not uncommon for them to do so by screening out those who do not meet the minimum qualifications and then tiering the applicants in terms of those who are minimally qualified, qualified, and highly qualified. And then it would be up to the search committee to decide if they only wanted to interview the highly qualified, or if they see some in the qualified that catch their eye, then certainly they would have the latitude to do that. Another key component that is built into this proposal is a solid orientation for the search committee, as well as advice and guidance on the interview process. And then last, transition support. So you will not live with me forever, so I get a foot out the door. You will have a solid plan to onboard your new president. So we have mentioned proposal submission requirements. That includes a minimum of 3 references, and of course, the fee structure in black and white. Timeline, if you approve this tonight, we are ready to hit the send button tomorrow. Then questions from submissions are due by August 5th to HR. The deadline for submissions is end of business day on August 12th. There will be interviews then scheduled between August 26th through September 4th for the identified finalist with an anticipated contract start date of October 1. We would have written evaluation criteria with the rubric. So those reviewing the application submissions would be able to score each of the submissions. The last two elements are terms and conditions. You can see them in writing, and then submission instructions. So I happily stand for any questions you have.
I would like to see a salary limit put on that. And knowing what your salary is, I'd like to see that limit of $250.
If, with your permission, I would like to turn to our Chief Human Resource Officer to help me answer that question. If that is guidance from the board, then we could not consider search firms that had that fee higher. Frankly, I would have to go back and do some homework to find out what an average cost is for a search firm. And maybe, Patrick, are you on it?
Yeah, sorry. I just want to make a point of clarification. I think Trustee Scruggs-Andrea, what you're noting is you want the presidential prospectus and profile when they put it together to say that the maximum salary for that next president here would be no more than $250,000. Is that correct? She wasn't referencing the search firm.
I am so sorry.
No worries.
I thought you were talking about that in conjunction with the search firm.
That's a piece that whoever...
That certainly can be accommodated in the presidential profile.
That's the piece that we'll just have to, have that conversation about what the presidential prospectus looks like from that search firm and include that information at that point in time. So, yeah, just want to make sure
The possibility is presidential candidates being screened out who would accept that amount.
Sure.
And the only ones being screened in are the ones who want a higher amount.
Certainly.
And I want those that want the higher amount to be screened out.
Yeah, and that's a piece that the conversation of, as Dr. Vietti's noting, and as we go through this and have interviews and conversations around the search firm, that's all a building that you all as trustees would be engaged in on building that presidential prospectus. What is it you want? What are the things you want to see in the candidates? Like what are the bookends, as you're noting, and salary being one of those in that prospectus as well, to put that out there to make sure that as individuals are looking at that and they're considering this opportunity, to your point, Madam Trustee, is they're not looking to make $500,000. It's just not a reality here. They're understanding what is the compensation model based on rough estimate, but based on us as an institution. So,
and I apologize for misunderstanding your question. To give confidence to the entire board, you will have the final say-so on the presidential profile before it is circulated.
Any other questions? Thank you you and Lorraine for putting this together.
And Dr. Schulte
yes.
added
yes.
finishing touches. Yes.
I have a question. Dr. Vietti, you had mentioned that students would be a part of the stakeholder conversation as we select a firm. Will they also be a part of the discussion when we interview the president or potential president?
So there would be a series of forums by what I'll call stakeholder groups. So faculty, staff, students, external community, and anyone is invited to attend who fits in that stakeholder group. And it is an open forum, AKA an interview. And it is typical for the search consultant to have forms for any attendee to fill out. And those completed forms then are given to the search committee. And in this day and age of technology, it is not uncommon to provide a QR code that will take all attendees directly to the survey form.
And right now, our process is getting a search firm selected through this RFP. But then when it comes to the actual search committee, It will be a combination of faculty, staff, trustees, students. I know before we had a student on there. I'm suggesting our student senate president. would
Well, I
probably
asked because
be-
student is not listed in the draft that was sent over. And that's why I
Right.
specifically asked about, all the other areas were listed, but there was nothing about students in that parentheses. It listed out even community, but it didn't say anything about students.
For the RFP, I'm so sorry, you were answering that question. I'm so sorry.
Oh, and I'm done.
So I don't want to get ahead, but I will, the next possible item for action is the initial process, the steps to take before the search consultant is hired. But at the bottom of that first page, it says a series of forms will be held for presidential finalists to ensure engagement across all sectors of the college. And on occasion, a student has been on the search committee. So if that were the will of the board to go that route, you
Yes.
could.
Thank you.
But thank you for raising two very good questions. Are there others?
Mine is very quick. Do we have a set minimum and potentially set maximum for the number of search firms that we will reach out to?
So first of all, there are three that are recommended in here. I've had working knowledge of all three, and their reputations across the community college system in the country, very strong. But this will be posted publicly, so any search firm who meets the requirements of the RFP can apply. And I know of one local search firm that I believe has inquired. So any inquiries that come to us will receive the RFP.
Thank you.
So no opportunity for submitting an RFP would be precluded.
Are there any other questions? And I guess most importantly, are you comfortable with moving forward with this document tonight? This is just the first.
I am.
This is just the first step to get it out there, because we do want to do a national search. I think we all are in agreement with that. And once this document is out there, then when those requests for proposals come back, the board will have some involvement with the firms that we select. Dr. Vieta can tell you, I was adamant that each step of the way we have some board involvement on this. From the selection of, from looking at the RFPs that come through, to selecting the ones that we want to interview, to the final selection. And, we won't have every board member on all of these committees, but we will have someone on every part of this selection so that you do feel included, so that you do feel heard.
Madam Chair, I was just going to say, as you update the information to include the students, it's on that page that's front and back, 1 and 2, and it's number 5. And everyone is listed out, but the student is not.
It's on the process, Dr. Vietti. She's trustee.
And we will get to that in a minute. Actually, we broke this into 2 action items.
Okay.
The first would be your approval of the RFP, and then we can talk about the process of, assuming you would be comfortable approving the RFP.
Yeah.
I will say this in terms of timing. This is an opportune time to release the RFP. And ultimately, it will be the board who selects the search firm. That is in your hands.
Yeah, I think we're ready, are we?
Yeah, I'd like to motion to approve the RFP as written.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to accept the presidential search firm request for proposal as presented. Have all in favor?
Aye.
Oppose? The motion carries. Thank you all. Well, this is I say our greatest task, because the president is our one employee. Next, Dr. Vieta will present to us a discussion on the process, and that's the second document, I think, and it's a draft, so it's not written in stone. Students, I think, probably wasn't listed, but students are going to be involved. That's
Absolutely.
Okay, so Dr. Vietti?
Since I am not your interim president yet, I don't have to be presidential at the moment, so I am going to say thank you and woohoo. Now, on to, and the next document was developed truly as an outline of steps we should be taking now to get to the point of October 1, when your chosen search consultant rolls up his or her sleeves and begins to do the work. So if it's all right, we'll walk through all the steps. We can amend them tonight, and you can approve an amended initial process step document, or you can put it under your pillow and sleep on it till the next board meeting, so your call. But with your permission, Madam Chair, I'll just walk through the steps.
Okay.
So the first step, with a woohoo, you have approved the RFP. Lorraine will get busy tomorrow morning and get it posted publicly and sent to the 3 search firms listed. Now we are in the second step of discussing the draft initial steps. Oh, sorry, initial step. So we envision that the search process, so the initial steps, in order to be absolutely transparent, and people listening tonight can hear, but we would like, with your permission, to give an update at the college convocation on August 10th. So they understand that you have approved the RFP, they understand what the next steps will be before the search firm consultant is hired. We are proposing, but again, with any amendments you see fit, that the search committee representation include the board chair or designee, the board vice chair or designee, one other board member, if the board so chooses, the chief human resources officer, the interim president, and 2 members each from cabinet, faculty, staff, and the external community, plus 2 employees at large. So to be clear, that would be the group that would review the qualified applicants and recommend those to bring in for a first round of interviews. Those people would be semi-finalists. The search committee would, after those semi-finalist interviews, select finalist candidates who would come on campus and be interviewed, if you will, in forums by every stakeholder group. So, questions so far? Then I'll move on. So, turning my page, in terms of who would evaluate the search firm submissions, the recommendation in this document is 2 to 3 board members, the chief human resources officer, the CFO, and what their task would be to identify 2 to 3 finalists that the full board would interview. And the options would be for you to conduct virtual interviews or bring the finalist on campus. And sometimes it's considered a best practice to bring the finalist on campus so you can interview them in person. I mean, it's a little more convenient to do virtual, but could be better to do that in person. So then it would be up to the board to make the decision after the interviews of the finalists to select your chosen search firm. So this document, again in draft form, is intended to give you an overview of steps we could follow until the chosen search firm is selected. And I'm happy to stand for any questions, and I will try to understand the questions as they come to me.
I think my only clarification for would be Trustee Johnson. So you would want to amend Section 5 to include students being able to be involved in the search committee. I'm sorry, in the search firm search, or
Search committee.
I'm sorry, search committee search.
See, I'm getting confused because the draft says initial presidential search process, so I went to search process and away from search firm.
I see.
Okay, so I'm not, as long as they're part of the forum, I'm okay with that. But when we're ready to look for a president, I want the students to be a part of that process.
Completely agree, yeah.
So the search firm will be the board and Dr. Vietti and Ms. Lorraine Mixon-Page. But even the board will have some input on who serves on the search committee as well. But that search firm is what the board, because we're putting out the RFP, and we have 3 that we know are ideal, but in transparency and fairness, it's going to be distributed where anyone can apply. So it would be up to the board to decide what firm we want to use. And so that's the search firm.
And once you have identified your selected search firm, I am certain that individual will work with the board to identify the composition of the search committee. So at that point, you again, this is draft, but at that point, it is the board who will approve the search committee.
Makes sense, yeah.
So, Trustee Johnson, are you okay as it is, or you want it
I'm
student
okay
on
as
there
it
now?
is.
Okay.
Thank you for clarifying.
Okay, all right. Any other questions or comments, or I'll ask what I asked a minute ago.
Well, I think we should decide who's going to be on that search committee. I don't think the board, the company that we're hiring should be deciding who is on our search committee.
They will just, it's my understanding, just making suggestions or recommendations.
would
but
recommend.
the board will decide who will be on it. We know we want faculty, staff, students, and a community person. So they will just give us some guidelines, but it will be our final decision.
They will bring you a proposed composition, and you can say yay or nay. You can edit it as you see fit. Ultimately, it is your call who's on the search committee.
Okay. With that clarification, is everyone comfortable taking a vote that this will be our, and she has draft on it because she didn't know how many comments or changes that the board would have. But if you're all okay, this can become a living, working document for us moving forward.
I move approval of this initial presidential search process as
Yeah, I'll second.
presented and reviewed tonight.
Yes, I approve of it, and I also, when I first heard about it, I said I wanted to be on that search committee, and I'm going to reiterate that I am putting my name forward as one who wants to be on the search committee. I know the board has to make the selection, but I want you to know that I'm interested.
Trustee Andrea, duly noted. Okay, it's duly noted, all right. Did we get a second?
Yeah, we do it.
Okay.
Johnson.
We have a motion and a second. to move forward with the approval of the initial presidential search process as presented to the board. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you so much.
Thank you very
We are
much.
very appreciative of the way you've already, as they say, hit the ground running. Let's see. Next on the agenda is the designation of official depositories presented by Dr. Patrick Schulte, Acting President and Vice President of Finance and Operations. Dr. Schulte.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And noted in your book materials, and it was approved by the Finance Committee, moved forward to the board for approval. And in a lot of ways, it's a formality, just the designation of our official depositories for the various banks that we partner with and the various funds we have here on campus. So again, as listed there, not a lot of change compared to where we have been in the past. So again, just moving it forward for full board approval.
So moved.
Oh, was there any
I
questions? Yeah, just like to give that. All right.
Jumped the gun there. My bad,
No.
Madam Chair.
No worries, because I could say it differently and you could still ask questions. I have a motion. Do I get a second? I have a motion and a second to approve the designation of official depositories as presented by Dr. Schulte. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Dr. Schulte will also present something that's new to us, and Trustee Ash mentioned it as well, a security bank line of credit. I'm sure the community wants to hear more about this as well. Dr. Schulte?
Yeah, so this is one piece that conversation we had at the Finance Committee, and I've had other places as well, being in higher ed a number of years, was the establishment of a line of credit for an institution, just as a safety net on behalf of and access to resources in a timely fashion. So as we move forward and take a look at that, that wasn't established here. And part of that is because of the amount of, various key reserves the institution had that it could lean on. And the timing, as Trustee Ash noted previously, is based on the timing, we get a declining balance. As we get a tax allocation, we get one in June. Then again, we kind of spend that. We wait until January, we get the second reiteration of those. But as time goes on and as things transact, if it was that we didn't have established various cash reserves in various places or money that was tied up in relation to CDs or other things, if there was a time where we needed to lean on utilizing some funds, do we have access to a line of credit to be able to use to pay off pretty much automatically or within a short period of time while we're not bearing any interest to be able to do that? An example I would give would be to say, as we saw and went through the flooding this last year, right? Flooding came on board, onto us on campus. And as we look at that and say, we need to start acting on that now. We brought in Service Master immediately. We could not wait. There was not time to wait. And if there was not cash reserves or cash available, liquid cash available for us as an institution, how would we actually pay for that in an emergency situation where we need to be able to say, we have to do this right now? How do we take care of that without going, well, we've got to figure out all the finances. We've got to get a board approval. We've got to do all these other pieces. How do we utilize those in that various situation? So for us, it's really that, and it may be something that we hold, as the institution may hold and may never lean on, but it's good business practice on behalf of just making sure for continuity of operations and risk that there is an available line. And again, based on our relationship with Security Bank, an unsecured line is not requiring anything from us other than the fact that they're offering it to us. So it's just another layer of protection in relation to us from a financial metric standpoint.
Any questions?
One super fast one. How does that use approval go? Is that just a normal use approval, or does it have to go through the board to use it?
That would be just a normal use approval, and then it would be probably a report out on from a finance committee standpoint on utilization, no different than we kind of lean on our cash now.
Makes sense. Thank you.
Go on.
Dr. Schulte, how much does this cost us?
$0.
Yes.
Okay.
$0. Just so they know.
Yeah. And probably clarification for the people the community who may be listening online. You talked about the flood and having to act immediately. Well, the timing of that was right before the opening of the fall semester. And we do have insurance, but you don't usually get the insurance claim overnight. So that would be the piece where, I guess I can hear someone saying, well, don't you have insurance? Yes, but if you've dealt with insurance companies, you know they don't pay out overnight. Go on.
Yeah, I was really, for me, I lean on that emergency planning, right? If there's an emergency on campus, if something was to happen and we need access, like the flood situation, as to note, Madam Chair, insurance is there, but it takes weeks on weeks to get that. And so we needed to respond immediately. And again, having access to something like this that costs us absolutely nothing and it's just there as a protective mechanism for us to use is really, truly why we brought it forward as good business practice.
I just wouldn't want us to kind of like lean on it like we think, oh, we got extra money, you know, so.
And that's where the checks and balance would come into place with Finance Committee. I mean, we will report on this just like we do every other bank account that we have. We'll actually show that line of credit. So if there's any amount put on there, that would be reflected in our Finance Committee transactions. And that would raise questions about why are you using that? So it doesn't allow for that kind of side. It's not going to be invisible. It'll be very visible to you as Finance Committee members and also be in your board materials with the finance materials that you get now, so.
Okay. Any other questions or concerns about this, or, all right? If not, may I have a motion to approve the Security Bank line of credit as presented by Dr. Schulte?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you for that. On our agenda now calls for the alcohol resolution for academic year 2027 celebration of Mass for the Catholic students of Kansas City, Catholic Student Association, doesn't say that. Kansas City, Kansas Community College. It has multiple dates. And it says that it will be presented by our the college attorney.
Blame Mr. Goheen for this. Yeah, so I'm generally familiar with the agenda item, having reviewed it. There is a specific statute in the state of Kansas that if you're going to serve alcohol on the premises, that you have to do so. The basis for serving the alcohol is laid out in the agenda materials. It's a pretty standard practice, so if you have any questions, be happy to try and field those.
And the dates were listed. Usually when we have an alcohol resolution, it has one date, but this one is for the student organization, and it's for their Mass for the entire semester. So those dates were in our packet. Are there any questions?
So it's for their Mass?
Yes, yes.
I think it's part of the ritual.
Yes, it is.
Makes a difference.
Okay. Are there any other questions or comments about this? Right. May I have a motion to accept the alcohol resolution for the academic year 2027 celebration of Mass for the Catholic students at Kansas City, Kansas Community College as presented?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. This brings us to the end of our meeting. Thank you all for taking the time to be here and to get this work done. I don't have really any closing comments, but if anyone else does, you may say them at this time, and otherwise I will call for a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? The motion carries. Thank you. This meeting is adjourned.